Okay, well, it's the flood of 2011. These are some photos around town before we were asked to evacuate. What is this, Broadway?
Yeah, Broadway back in May. By Sammy's Pizza, this would be, can't think of which bridge that is. That's Broadway again by Sammy's Pizza. That's down by the Country Club, or the Boy Scout Bridge.
Yeah, it was a house put up on, I don't know how many
Magic City Implement.
cinder blocks.
We were driving the tractors out of there. 2nd of June we were evacuated. At this time, this road into the Country Club, 5 tee box clubhouse, the dike we were building out there. There's various shots of different holes of the golf course and how much water it had taken on.
You guys did a lot of sandbagging out there too.
Yeah, I think we raised that dike up quite a bit, probably 8 or 9 feet. There's pictures of Souris Valley, first part of June, before the high water. There's Broadway and a line of trucks that was from Sammy's all the way up to the college. Pictures of the Garrison Dam, June 3rd. They were releasing quite a large amount of water, having to rebuild the riprap along there. Spillway gates opened, first time in history. They've even opened one of them, and they had all of them open. So basically the whole state was covered with water. That's the hill at Magic City that they used for diking material. More shots of the Country Club on June 5th. Of course, all that ended up underwater. That's standing on 14 tee box, which I believe stayed dry during the flood, but most of the golf course was covered, about 85-90%. 14 fairway. There's looking at the cart barn in the Club Pro Shop from 14 tee. I'm not even sure what hole that is. I think that's in front of like 18. 14 green. Off across the river from the golf course. Stand on the tee box at 16. Cart barn, which ended up about 2 or 3 feet from the very top of the roof line. People still playing golf first couple days in June. Obviously there were water issues. More shots of the dike that we had built. They actually doubled it since those pictures were taken.
So June 3rd, we piled everything high on the main level, got everything out of the basement because the projected crest wasn't that high. But then June 20th, they projected the crest to be 1,563, and in 1969 it was 1,555 inches. Our house is 1,556 on the main floor. So June 22, siren sounded, and at 12:57 we had to get out. The projected crest was on June 24th to be 1,564.5 inches. Feet, whatever. Broadway Bridge is closed, so the trucks could build a huge dike. On the 24th at 10:30 a.m. it was 1,557 feet. 1:44 p.m. 1,559. At 2:20 p.m. it was 1,559 feet, and that was when Kim got the picture from the Black Hawk of our property, which is coming up here soon. We'll point it out in the film.
All these pictures are taken the day of the evacuation. Actually, the day before the evacuation. We were pretty much cleaned out.
And this is us just saying goodbye to the house. Our trees, those are all gone now. Hey, our remodel in 2009.
The shot of the house and the neighbors and the flag on the roof.
Steve put that flag up there so we could see it from any helicopter view.
The numbers they were projecting would have been to almost to the ceiling in the house, so we figured that was going to be the only way we could tell where the house was. The only furniture we left in the house was in the basement. The old stone fireplace that was in the basement. Just some other random pictures of the cleaned out house before the water came in.
The baby's floor, the hardwood floor, and our three-sided fireplace.
This taken June 26, 2 days after basically the high water came in and when we got wet. These are pictures of Cirrus Valley, taken from the clubhouse, of course, up on the hill. Here's the picture Kim took about 2 days after we were evacuated. Holiday Inn was surrounded by water at that time. Fairgrounds was covered with water. There's a picture of the Coke plant. It was kind of amazing that the house was not wet yet and the yard was dry, the street was dry, but it was just a matter of time, probably a few hours. There's Longfellow School, which got wet. They're rebuilding. There's Christ Lutheran Church.
You can see in the background people are standing watching the water come up.
There's a picture of Jack Hovind Ball Diamonds and the development east of Perkett, or west of Perkett. Pro shop at the Minot Country Club on the 24th. Just another picture of a neighborhood. There's that development over by the Jack Hovind Ball Diamonds. Chateau Apartments right by Arrowhead, which of the east portion burned down after the flood, after they had started reconstructing. 3rd Street Viaduct, another random house where the water obviously was very high in that neighborhood.
The fence is on the roof.
Train tracks over by Teresito Vallejo had washed out. And the day that the house got wet, Dad shaved his head. And he hasn't let it grow back yet because he likes it short. Picture of the Holiday Inn on the 26th. Obviously their dike didn't hold up. Boat tour from KX got that picture of our house. Obviously the water had started going down. July 8th, over at buddy Randy's, he had about 18 inches of water in the basement, so we went over and started helping him clean out. Picture of Friday's evergreen development by the country club. You can see in the background the water had started to recede by then. There's pictures of the pro shop and cart barn and the swimming pool area of the golf course. Not sure which part of town those are from, but obviously the dike had been overtopped. That's a house right under the Broadway Bridge, as is that one. Rain gauge, or the water level gauge that the USGS puts out. And the riprap and everything they had dumped on the sides of the dike to try and cut erosion. That house was actually washed off the foundation and held up by a tree, or it would have ended up in Surrey or Velva or somewhere. Walk path along the river washed out. There's a bridge at Cirrus Valley, obviously underwater. Another shot of our house. So that was the day we tried to get in, but they wouldn't let us in. We were standing on Burdick Expressway taking pictures from
That's our fence with a bunch of gunk on it.
There's the shot of the church across the street, which they actually started or rebuilt now. Another shot of our house from Burdick the day before I got back to the house. So obviously the water went down quite a bit over that 24 hours. There's a shot of the fairgrounds from Burdick Expressway in front of the house. Holiday Inn picture in Capri. There's a shot of the dike behind the houses on Cirrus Drive. Somebody's sump pump was still running, so they still had power to the house. There's a bunch of stuff hung up on a bridge on 27th. Hot tub and all that stuff was jammed in there. Refrigerators.
I counted 25 days that we had to be evacuated and not being able to be in our house.
There's our mailbox hung on a fence the neighbor found. July 14th, first time back to the house. Checking out the devastation. Obviously the deck tried floating away, hung up on a gas line. Awning and everything came down, which we got replaced somehow. A lot of manpower to get that back in place and attached to the house. But Water level on the garage, best I could tell for a high water level. Pictures of inside the garage. We had left a few things in there, and all of our shelving was ripped away from the wall, so there had to be pretty good current in there. Trying to hand open those doors was interesting. They're pretty heavy. Picture just the mud on the front of the house. The west sidewalk was clear, but obviously there was some current running.
The basement water.
Yeah, we could see 2 steps when we first got back. There's shots of the kitchen. Cabinets in the kitchen we didn't get out. Hardwood floor popping. And
that's tile and the hardwood in the kitchen and eating area.
Yeah, living room hardwood. White carpet.
Used to be white carpet. And all the mold. When we were showing these pictures to Dr. Safarian at work, he was saying, oh, the green is this penicillin mold, the purple is this, and the black, oh, don't get near the black. He said that's bad. You need those special masks.
And so just all the mud on the floor. Obviously we had some, but it wasn't as bad as it could have been because we didn't have any broken windows during the flood, so it was just stuff seeping through cracks that was coming in and not through open doors or windows. Picture of the bathroom. More hardwood tile, or hardwood popped. See, the water line was right above all the outlets. So it was right about at 4 feet on the main floor. Windows that I broke out once I got back to the house just to get some air in the house and try and air it out a little bit. Didn't do much good because everything was moldy anyway. It was just kind of a stress reliever to break things.
There's the black mold. That's really bad.
I think that was toilet stuff.
Ew.
Mold on the ceilings. Nice maple hardwood. Fans, of course, they all drooped, depending on where you were. The interesting thing is that bucket you see in this picture. It was there. I got all the doors and windows open, and everything dried up, and all the mud started cracking, and it was pretty dry in there. And I went to move that bucket and couldn't. It was actually 5 gallons of water that had sealed itself upside down. So when I kicked it over, we had a wet living room again. Later on the 14th, the water had gone down a couple stairs, so it was draining out on its own. Shot of the front of the house in the mud and the muck. What was left of our pretty good sized fence. That was the actual street in front of the house that day. Still water on it. Fish swimming everywhere. All the bushes and shrubs and evergreens, pine trees, pretty much everything had suffocated and died. So, fire pit never moved. Rudy's kennel never moved. Still in operation today. This is what amazed me: is a bunch of antlers by the garage, never moved. That's a sign I found in the yard. I'm guessing it was from the zoo. It says this pen is under construction, and we decided to keep that and hang it on the kennel. Just more pictures of the mess.
Did you talk about the gas line?
Yeah, that's the only reason the deck held up, is it hung up on a gas line and pulled the gas line out of the ground a couple of feet. I wish it kind of would have blown up, because I think then we would have had insurance. Would have paid for the little bit of the rebuild. That's some stuff in the garage that we had up on a shelf. It stayed dry. Grandpa's old Railroad Express Agency safe, which is still in the garage. Tumblers won't move. I think they're seized up, so it's going to sit like that forever. Started tearing out July 18th or 19th, so it was only 5 days from when we got back. Found a crew out of South Dakota to clean it out for a reasonable amount of money, and they went at it. We just kind of tore everything out, and windows and doors and sheetrock and ceiling and carpet and flooring, and everybody had to wear masks because of the mold and the garbage floating around. There's our mailbox back in place. The neighbor found it down the street. Just some pictures of the guys working and tearing stuff out. It's a fish that was in the garage. Funny thing was, I had it on the garage. It's a fish Dad caught back in '87, and just the bottom of the fins got touched by the water, so it was interesting. Gas fireplace, we saved the majority of the stone there and put an electric insert in.
Kitchen.
What was our kitchen remodel 3 years prior. Michelle's bathroom remodel 4 years prior. Interesting thing was the grass that came in, that was about 10 days after the water had gone down. The grass was popping up and asparagus was coming up, and it was kind of a sign of new life coming back. There's shots of the basement, the false ceiling, and just the muck on the walls. I'm sure the majority of that was sewage. All the ceiling panels for the false ceiling dissolved. Wallpaper just peeled off the walls.
Whoopar.
There's a house over by Perkett that had got washed off the foundation but was still sitting there kind of cockeyed. There's more flood debris out of the basement, couch and some carpet. Once we got everything out, obviously we got some fans down there and dried it as best we could and let it air dry for quite a while. There were some rocks. There was one small window in the basement that broke in the laundry room, and there was actual pebbles that were, I don't know, half inch around, and the whole laundry room floor was covered with them. It was kind of interesting. I'm not sure where they came from, but
Under the deck.
well, those are bigger rocks.
Oh.
There's the old chimney stack from the basement fireplace, and the basement gutted out. Living room gutted out to the studs. Open doors, and these pictures are 19th of August. We just kind of let her sit for almost 6 weeks, and obviously little Maya was born. During the middle of it all, Labor Day weekend, the guys started to rebuild. Obviously, we got the basement all cleaned out. We started on the main floor. New subfloor down, and sheetrock. We did cut some trees down in the backyard behind the garage. We cut all those trees down. Here I am one afternoon checking in on the guys working. Obviously, I am on the mini excavator digging holes for the egress windows we did put in, which was actually kind of fun running the machinery. Luckily, I didn't wreck any part of the house that wasn't flooded. Obviously, there you can see all the new electricals in. There I am on a bobcat with a jackhammer. Tested it out on the neighbor's driveway first because he replaced a section of his driveway, and then I went after the front steps, which needed to be either taken out or repaired somehow. They were pulling away from the house prior to the floods, so we figured we'd just pull them out and build a new front porch on. Egress windows are cut in. Working on those front steps some more. This foam insulation that we put in. Kind of encases everything. There's no breeze or draft or anything that comes through the outlets. It's like the boys have got the ceiling sheetrocked by this time. 27th of September, new doors on the house. New windows are in. We changed the size of a few windows, so we had to patch in around. So we did save what siding we could, and we ended up having to put some cedar paneling on the outside and the upper areas. There's all the sheetrock work done. The new bathtub shower surround for the main bathroom is in. Sheetrocking in the kitchen, dining room area. Mailbox got a new place to sit. Did a little rock work on some corners of the house and around the front porch. It actually looks kind of the same, but a little bit different looking at the house from the outside. There's a remade fireplace insert. All the mud and tape work is getting pretty much done by this point. We sheetrocked down to the basement and did a little landing down at the bottom of the basement, and that was basically what we had done to get it in. Hardwood floor going in. Michelle found that through Moose Lumber, actually out of New York. It was cheaper to buy it from New York and have it shipped over here than the supplies in town. Very similar color to what was there before. Kitchen flooring, we did the same as we did as the remodel in 2008.
Electrical in the backyard.
Yeah, that was the electrical work that we had to have done in the alley, because we lost half of our power coming into the house, so we couldn't do a lot of work in the evenings because we didn't have full power, so we only had 2 outlets to work off of. Obviously, we got some paint on the walls here after a couple painting parties with some friends, and the kitchen's put back together.
And we moved in.
Yeah, we moved back in December 3rd.